Well, I think after the alcohol dissipates from your body after about a month, you're probably sober enough to realise you won a grand final. But I think as soon as that siren goes, you know you've done it, and it's just such an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I think you obviously know pretty well that you've won it, but yeah, I suppose it does take a couple of days to sink in. I think that, you know, obviously the celebrations are massive. You know, the media exposure and the coverage that it receives, you know it's something significant. And yeah, it's just, you know, wonderful to be a part of.
When you look at what happened after the '92 premiership, we had our celebrations, and it was only a week later there was 8 of us picked in the World Cup squad. So for me it was a bit of a whirlwind thing happening. So then straight after that we had to play Wigan in the World Club Challenge. It was a couple of weeks after we won the World Cup in Wembley, and for the 8 Bronco players, it sort of probably took till after we got back from winning the World Cup Challenge against Wigan, and we go, what just happened in the last 3 or 4 weeks? You know, it was just this, you know, we just won 3 titles. It's amazing, and then you sit down and you go, hang on, we've won a premiership, we've won the World Cup final at Wembley, and we won the World Cup Challenge. We're the best in the world. Like, yes. So it's like, and you know, when you're a part of that, I think it's after it there's a realisation what's just happened.
In '89, I missed the next morning. I missed the parade because I was in a garden somewhere at my place. I got out of the cab, must have collapsed in the garden, and they couldn't find me. So there's '89 gone. '90 I was at it, and 2005, well, we're up all night. We just didn't go to bed. Yeah, so it was a couple of big days.
The '84 Grand Final, my first one was wives and kids and that had to be out of the club by 12 o'clock, so we could actually sit down and have a drink together. And hours went past, and Baz and Pilko was a radio station in the early '80s, and they came to the Loose Club to interview us, and I was getting interviewed at 6 o'clock in the morning with a vodka and orange. So yeah, but that was just from the night. Well, I didn't wake up to that. I think I got home about 10 o'clock, had a couple of hours sleep, and then Mad Monday hit.
Some sort of madness on the footy field, and later on generally it's mad too. I mean, we went back to the various clubs, the West Club and then the Balmain Club, and they actually closed down Victoria Road. You don't see things like that too often. You know, the police normally throw you all in jail for you being drunk, standing in the middle of Victoria Road, but there they were closing the road down. So it's amazing how things change when there's a reason.
Look, I was probably one of the good boys, and but you know, didn't sleep all night after it. But you know, it was always always made sure, because we won a few grand finals, and got my wife to pick me up, snuck out. But you know, around about lunchtime, and then we kicked back in the day after, and yeah, some of the boys would just keep going through, and that was good. You know, everyone was different, but we always made sure we got back together. If it was a Sunday match, we'd back together on the Tuesday and do a few things.
Look, Newcastle, we've certainly probably had celebrations that are unique, because being from a one town, one team situation, particularly in Newcastle '97, Newcastle went into an era where we lost the backbone of the community economically, which was the steelworks. BHP shut down and over 10,000 people lost their jobs, so the town was a bit down and out at that stage, and they were looking for something to lift the spirits, and us making the grand final certainly lifted the town. And the celebrations we'll never forget, because even when we made the grand final there was 5,000 people lining the streets from Newcastle all the way down to Sydney, cheering us on as the bus went down the freeway. And then when we won, it was amazing coming back in off the F3. There was tens of thousands. You couldn't even drive up the street, the police escorts. And you know, I've got the keys to several towns in Newcastle, Cessnock. I've got bottles of wine, and you know, we didn't pay for a meal or alcohol for several months. So certainly it was just amazing. We come back to the ground, and the workers club and the scenes, there was 40,000+ people waiting for us at 12 o'clock at night just to get a look at the trophy and the team. So pretty special.
I think the coaches celebrate as much as the players do in those circumstances. I certainly did, '89 in particular, because you know, I'd played at Penrith through the '70s, and in 13 years that I played, we had 8 first grade coaches, and we hadn't made the semis at all, being that it was top 5. So there was no semi-final football. So for me to go to the Raiders and have some success down there was a big thing for me personally, let alone for the team.
I got the fly back with Winfield Cup in the plane, and you know, we had the whole plane booked So obviously we had family and friends there travelling back with us. So that's another little story. You know, I got to sit with the Winfield Cup. You know, had its own seat beside me on the plane.